Alrighty. So I spent about 27 hours in the Darktide closed beta, which is making me seriously question my life decisions, but I put as much time as I possibly could into the game so I could get some solid opinions on the game and get you guys some good content. And I'll say that I had a lot of fun playing the game. I'm going to leave all judgments on whether or not the game is actually good until the game releases, because this was just a closed beta. There was no way we can tell if the game is going to be good or not on release just from this beta, and the purpose of it was really to stress test the servers. And I think it was a success. There was a login queue, but that was quickly resolved, and I did DC from lobbies a few times, and the game crashed a few times, but I largely had a pretty smooth experience when it comes to connectivity and things like that. And to address the gameplay, the core combat is definitely there. It's close and personal and visceral, all of the things that Fat Shark has become known for at this point. And having ranged mobs is going to add a whole nother depth of strategy to this game, which I am personally very excited for. One of the things that jumped out at me right away is that this game is actually pretty difficult, in quick play anyway. And this could be just because I'm used to running end-game equipment in Vermintide, and getting into this we were all, your weapons suck at the beginning, which does make the game harder. But even then I found myself getting absolutely wrecked by groups of specials, until I could really figure out what the sound cues are and their kind of behavior patterns. You're going to come across several players who are probably playing the modded difficulties in Vermintide 2. You're going to find them saying the game is easy. I've already seen some videos of people completing the highest difficulty with pre-mades, but I will say that the difficulty in this game when you're playing in quick play with randoms is much harder. Teamwork is a lot more important in this game. There's a thing called the coherency bonus, which is essentially the various auras that the different characters have. For instance, the Psyker boosts everyone's damage to elite enemies by 10%. Every single character has one of those, and so if you're not together, your combat power drops significantly. To add on top of that, these specials are pretty powerful in this game. And I want to say to you guys, if you're looking around on the internet for different people's opinions, be wary. You're going to find a lot of opinions that are kind of misinformed and very dramatic for whatever reason. For instance, I saw people complaining that the las gun feels weak when they're using the very first weapon that the game gives them. You're going to find a lot of stuff like that on Reddit, on the forums, and in the Discord. So if you find some opinions out there that people are saying the game is absolutely awful, I would take that with a grain of salt, because this is just a closed beta. We do not have the full scope of the game, thus we don't really have the information we need to pass judgment on the game. And if I were to pass judgment on just the closed beta itself, I'd say it was pretty good. There were a lot of things missing, like the access to information in the game is abysmal. As I'm sure you've heard, the optimization is a problem, kind of along the same lines as information, as the HUD just does not tell you enough. But the feel of the combat is definitely there. I would say there's a few things that just need a little bit polishing. Some of the weapon animations aren't quite there just yet. They're really close. They're all really close. But particularly one of the axes, I forget which one it is. There's two axes and they're very similar, but one of them is like a single target DPS axe, and that weapon did not feel that great to me. Most of the other melee weapons did feel good. I'm a big fan of the Devil Claw. I think was one of the first swords you get in the game. I played mostly Psyker, so I had a lot of fun with the Forest Sword. That was really the only weapon I found that had a somewhat complex combo, and granted that's the weapon I use the most, so that's the one I was the most familiar with. As far as the range weapons go, the Force Staff is absolutely awesome. The Revolver is very satisfying, but I absolutely hate how long the reload animation is. The Combat Shotgun is definitely my favorite ranged weapon. They really got the feel right, the sounds right, the reload animation right. It just feels like you're wielding a powerful shotgun when you're using this weapon. The SMG felt like an SMG, and the las gun I did not play with as much because I didn't play Veteran a whole lot. I feel like when you play Veteran, the game kind of turns into an FPS, and I'm not so much an FPS enjoyer as I am a Vermintide enjoyer, so unfortunately the Veteran is really the only class I didn't really get into. The Psyker is a lot of fun. You're going to find people saying the Psyker is underpowered, and those people are absolutely crazy. You can really feel the difference when there's not a Psyker on your team, because Maulers just refuse to die if you don't have a Psyker popping their head. Ogryn is a ton of fun and really good too. The stagger on his melee weapons is absolutely insane. higher than anything in Vermintide, that's for sure, which makes sense. And I didn't get into the Zealot until the very end of the beta, but man, I feel like I missed out. The Zealot kind of has this run and gun playstyle, and it's a ton of fun. And there was a couple of games I played with some good veteran players, and they were absolutely annihilating specials along with the Psyker. So unfortunately, those are the only 4 classes we get at launch, as far as I know, unless they make another last-minute decision to add more to the game or something like that, and that is a bit unfortunate. But I will reserve my judgment because they could make up for it in some way. They said there's going to be 70 plus weapons, which is promising, but a lot of those weapons have to be interesting weapons. What I mean is, they can't all just be assault rifles and pistols and shotguns and etc. We need some interesting weapons, like a Vermintide 2 example would be the Trollhammer Torpedo or the Moonfire Bow. Don't you dare say the Javelin. And I really hope we get more staffs for the Psyker. The Force Staff is a lot of fun, but if there's more of that in the game, that could add a lot of versatility to Psyker's play. So yeah, my first impressions are, I really liked the game. I had a lot of fun playing it. It sucks that there's only 4 classes, but that could be made up for with weapons. And we need more information on the HUD. We really need more information just in general on the weapons. Right now they're just meters instead of numbers. And they did take a step in the right direction though by having a little bit in the inspection UI that shows the combos and which light attack does which, but the thing is, we don't know what the hell the icons mean, which surely they will define that in the final game, right? And yeah, this is too early to pass judgment on the game. Be careful when you go around the internet looking at people's opinions, because people tend to be very dramatic about this game, which is good because all that means is they care about this game, and I do too, and you're going to find some misinformed opinions. And the beta actually maxed out with 44,000 players, which is absolutely insane for a beta. It shows that there's a lot of interest in this game, and I think it's going to be a massive hit when it comes out on launch. In terms of sales, anyway, yeah, that's my first impressions. I'm going to be making more videos. I'm going to be going into detail about my criticisms of the game in another video. And then, in another video, I'm going to talk about what they got right. Then I'm probably going to make some videos talking about the different classes in the game. I don't want to go too crazy with the Darktide content just yet. I'll really reserve that for the launch. It just doesn't feel appropriate to make a guide for a class that's in a beta. So yeah guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate you spending your time watching, listening to me talk about Darktide. If you like the video, please like it, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.